Hey everyone, so I wanted to demonstrate this port knocking persistence slash system disruption technique that I decided to come up with. Huge shout out to the community and TryHack me kind of inspire me to do this. So yeah, so first off, what is port knocking? Essentially, it is a connections attempts from a client to a server to open up a service or a command to be run. So in this case, I just found a little demonstration. I will link everything in the description. Feel free to check them out. So in this case, we have a port knocker that is going to be sending connection attempts of 1031, 1244, in that order. And when that happens, it then will open up SSH for us to use. Prior to that, SSH wasn't working. This is primarily used as a firewall technique. I believe Teleport uses it. I read an article from them and they mentioned the same idea. It does make it a little bit more obfuscated for them. Um, so yeah, I wanted to use this as a post exploitation for a red team persistent mechanism, as I had mentioned earlier, and that's going to be what my demo is going to be about. So let's dive right into it and waste no time. So really quickly, in the link below, I have added my GitHub. You can go ahead and clone this. I have a script up and running for if you have an exploited machine and you want to add it like a system disruption or basically like a cron job based on your time when you want to send it. That being said, I went ahead and cloned it. It should be under red team now. We'll go into that. And this is all it is. It's just going to be a quick shell script. So before anything else, let's kind of take a look at it and see what it's doing. So we just have the simple bin bash. We're running it as root. You can change that and basically make this run if you have privileges as a user. We're go ahead and download knockd, which is going to be the service that we're going to be messing around with. We're going to enable it. We're going to start it. The service that we're going to mess around with as well is going to be Apache 2. In this case, if we go to systemctl status Apache 2, which I should have it up and running. Yep. Oops. We can double check that by just going to our loopback, and boom, you can see this basic page up and running from Apache. Coolio. So now what we can do is move on. I make a copy just in case. Feel free to not do this if you're trying to like limit the logs that are being generated if you're on like the red team, blue team side. Um, but yeah, in this case right now, we're going to be cutting the end of the file, overwriting it to that knockd configuration file that we just got, as well as this interface. So this interface is going to have to be changed if you have ETH0, ENS33. In my case, I believe I have ENS33. I do, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is just quickly, where was it? I was like, Vim. There we go. ENS33. Gonna skip out of that. Cool. So now this is the area that is going to be doing the command and the sequence itself. So let's focus on the main ones. The sequence. This is the connection attempts that we're going to be made on our attacking machine, which in my case will be this paired security machine on the same subnet. This one is going to be hitting port 7000, then 8000, then port 9000. It has to be in that order specifically. As well as once that is run, I want you to run this command. The binary systemctl stop that service that we mentioned prior to, which in my case will be the Apache 2. This command could be anything. This could be creating a netcat station. This could be implementing malicious code. Anything. Keep in mind it does depend on what user it's being run as. Um, and yeah, the command for this one's going to be for a start. I don't plan on using this right now because I want to cause harm to the blue team and, let them practice more than anything else. And then end a file as well. There's going to be some documentation so you can see what you messed up on if the script doesn't fully complete. As well, this is the service file of the original knockd service. And then what I went ahead and was kind of hide some footsteps, I guess. Make it harder to find out where the systemctl service is being run. In that case, all I did is rename it and then just move the file, right? I did a dot kernel dash loop dot service, which is also there is another service on most machines. I think it's like kernel oops or kernel oop dot service. Don't know what it stands for. Object oriented program. I don't know. So this just sounds scary, and like they would have to look into it. It's like if you look knock D, you're like, oh, I know what that is. I can look it up, and like it's port knocking. Let me, disable this service, right? In this case, they would actually have to pull out a little bit more forensic tools to figure it out. Moving forward, some more hiding our presence would be kind of capturing that process ID of the knock D, reaching out to certain ports, and so what we're going to do is just go ahead and change that. So our first initial step is getting that process ID of knockd. That sounds funny. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and make a new empty directory called var/empty. You could change this to whatever you want. We're going to bind that original one we had from the process ID from knockd, and then we're binding it to this random empty directory. And yeah, that's just the gist of it. Feel free to go into it more. Really quickly, I have to give it execution. Cool. So let's go ahead and run this. If everything works, it should download correctly, configure everything correctly, and we should see a script successfully run. Seems a mount point does not exist. Okay, so it seems to be that I made another empty directory prior to this during the testing. I just went ahead and I made a new directory. We can double check that, and I can show you what I just quickly did. I just made an empty 2 and I binded it to this one instead. To double check that, what we can do now is just grep it to see if we have anything from knockd, which we won't. This is just the command itself that's being ran. As well as if we will go ahead and list the systemctl services that are running right now, we should see no knockd running. Or actually, kernel loops. This is a separate one. I kind of named it after this one as well. I'll full screen it. You can kind of understand that there's nothing there. There's nothing with knockd. The reason that my service that I moved it to isn't showing up is because we put that dot in front, making it a hidden service, right? So that being said, we have that up and running. We still have the Apache 2 service up and running, as it should be. Now, if we go over to our attacking machine, first off, we're going to take account to the IP of this, 192.168.32.134. Now, let's go over to our attacker machine, which is going to be this one. You're going to go ahead and do sudo apt install knockd, and then once that's installed, you can use the knock command. Basically, the knock command is making those connection attempts in that order to this IP address. So in that case, as it said before, it's going to be 7,000, 8,000, and 9,000. You could also do this with like an nmap command and then do it within those ports and then list the ports that you want to do, right? We're just going to stick with the knock, the built-in knock function. So as previously mentioned before, if we show the system Apache's running, right? No ports are showing, nothing like that. We throw this knock command through, and we check this again. It is now dead, right? So there are going to be logs for this. Keep that in mind as a red teamer and also blue teamer. We can double check this is now down, and it is. So yeah, that's a super low level of what knockd is doing. If you can use it as a red teamer, awesome. Feel free to check out my GitHub. It is going to be in the link in the description below. And feel free to add it, give me suggestions. I'll probably keep coming out with some videos for red teaming as I continue to red team for my school. I'm open to suggestions, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed.